All right, taking a risk on this video. I know it may ruffle some feathers, push some buttons, but essentially the topic of this video is Dave Ramsey full of crap? I will give a disclaimer that I've not read any of his books. I have not taken any of his courses, but I have watched many videos, listened to podcasts. I have some friends who have gone through courses. I even have a friend who has worked for him. So I get the gist of his business. And being that I'm in an industry where our worlds collide a lot, I thought I would give my opinion on Dave Ramsey's business and theory. So before getting into it, this would be a great topic to have some healthy discussion in the comments. So give us some feedback. Let us know if you agree or disagree. We'd also love if you subscribe to the channel. It'd mean a lot to us. That allows us to grow and give you more value. So let's dig into it. So I'll start off with saying what Dave Ramsey does really, really well. He's obviously a successful businessman. He knows what he's talking about. So what he does really well is budgeting your finances. He's also probably the king of helping you get out of debt. Some people have student loans, medical loans, or hit hard times and need to max out their credit cards. And he does a really, really good job at developing plans and helping people get out of that debt. If I had to kind of sum up Dave Ramsey's theory and his mission statement, I guess you could say, it's to live conservatively and pretty frugal in your younger years to save up wealth in order to retire later on down the road or earlier than most. So you're able to have that, those reserves later down the road so you can, get out of the rat race of working constantly for the rest of your life. Now, getting to where the real estate industry, my industry, and his often collide, and what I feel like often kind of throws a kink into things is his housing advice. Dave is a big proponent on not buying a house unless you have a large down payment, around 20%, I think minimum, and he's a big proponent on a 15-year mortgage, which yes, if you have the ability to do that, it is the much preferred option because it allows you to build the most equity in your house faster. He's also a big proponent on no debt, which yes, that goes into his side of the business where he's helping people get out of debt. So obviously he's a big proponent on telling people not to acquire more debt. Pay cash for cars so you don't have a car note. Don't get credit cards, etc., etc. So you can maybe see how those things cause a little friction in the real estate industry. So those are the things that I want to talk about. I'll take it one thing at a time. In regards to no debt, yes, I absolutely don't acquire a bunch of debt that you're going to have to pay off. But with that, he's big on no credit cards. And honestly, I've even heard the statement that a credit score means nothing. He says credit scores are just something the media tells you you need to have. Well, if you were going to be buying a house and getting financing, spoiler alert, you need a credit score. So I've often had many buyers call and say, hey, we're looking to buy a house. I refer them to a lender. They call to get pre-approved. And the lender says, sorry, I can't approve you. You don't have a credit score. Then they call me. They're upset. And they say, hey, we've been following the Dave Ramsey plan. He's big on no credit, no debt. And we can't get approved because we don't have a credit score. There you have it. Hear me out. Debt is not a good thing, but there is such thing as good and more favorable debt, such as a house. So credit cards, honestly, I get it. They are a very tempting thing to max out and put you in a bind, but they are also one of the best things to do to acquire good credit. Credit, in a sense, is basically a track record of you being able to pay things off responsibly and timely. So if you get a credit card, you can use it, but pay it in full at the end of every month, and you can acquire good credit. So despite what Dave may say, credit score is actually a good thing. And another spoiler alert, if you're going to be renting, your landlord is probably going to be running a credit check on you to see if you're able to pay the rent. So keep that in mind. There are lenders that Dave recommends that can get you a loan with no credit, but surprise, surprise, they're affiliated with his business, thus he gets a piece of the pie. You see where I'm going with this? So moving on to his preferred loan, the big down payment, about 20% down with the 15-year mortgage. Again, a great option if you have the ability to do it, but therein lies the problem. The average person, especially younger buyers, first-time home buyers, don't have the 20% down to do, as well as a 15-year mortgage is a higher monthly payment. Again, cuts their budget a little bit. So not everybody is able to do it. And in the meantime, when you can't do that and you're just saving up money to be able to do it, you're renting. And so many spoiler alerts in this video, but spoiler alert, you're not going to get those rent payments back like you would if you were paying a house note. There are other loan options that I would consider not financially irresponsible, but there's a conventional loan with a minimum 5% down payment. If you're a first-time home buyer, you can even qualify for a 3% down payment. There's an FHA loan, which is a minimum of 3.5% down, and that could be a whole nother discussion on other fees associated with that loan. There's even an RD loan, which is 100% financing, and there's no down payment. Again, another discussion why that may not be wise on a short-term basis, but all that to say, again, it goes into your specific situation on what loan works for you. You are not required to put 20% down, and I think Dave may be a reason why a lot of people think that 20% down is a requirement. It is absolutely not. Hopefully you're not taking this, being that I'm in real estate, as me trying to push or manipulate someone into buying a house irresponsibly. Another thing that Dave preaches that I agree with wholeheartedly is to have a certain amount of cash reserves on hand to where you're not depleting your entire savings to buy a house. But if you do buy a house, you have money in the bank to cover things that go wrong with the house, or just things that come up, and you're not just sitting there broke because you bought a house. I'm all about saving money and being responsible, but I do think there's other loan options other than the 15-year, 20% down options that can get you into a house. Hopefully this sheds some light on opinions and alternative thoughts and processes to what Dave Ramsey says. I get it, he's in the finance space, so housing is one part of that in your budgeting and your finances. However, there's not a one-size-fits-all for everyone, I believe, and there are other alternatives. So speak to your lender about what those are, and you don't have to hold true to what Dave Ramsey says. The whole point of this video was that I was a little heartbroken to hear all these calls from people who want to buy a house but can't because they have no credit, or they're holding out to buy because they think they have to have 20% down. Meanwhile, they're wasting all of their money on rent. Just wanted to say there are other options. So reach out to your realtor or a realtor that you trust to kind of get their opinion on the matter. So that's it. I did it. Hopefully this didn't ruffle too many feathers. I know there's some avid Dave Ramsey fans out there, not trying to push your buttons, just trying to give my opinion on the matter on other alternative options in the housing part. So again, this would be great to have some healthy discussion in the comments. Leave your thoughts, your agreements, your disagreements. Subscribe to the channel. Hopefully this brought you some value. And like always, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching our video. Our goal is to provide as much value to you as possible. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and all that stuff, and check out our other videos. And here's 2 options for you. Go check them out.